Hey everybody, this is Craig Cottle from Nature Reliance School, guest instructor with dansdepot.com. What we're going to do today is start filming a series on how to make a bow drill fire set. Gathering your pieces for your bow drill fire set, obviously you want to make sure that everything is as dry as it possibly can be. If you watched our series on collecting firewood, it's going to be no different. You want to make sure you pick something that is not directly on the ground. I found this piece right here that has been held up off the ground. It's not directly into the earth, so it's not holding a lot of moisture. So I'm going to make the first two pieces of my bow drill set from this, what's called the spindle and the hearth. So I'm going to start making those, and then I'll show you in detail what I've done. So the first thing I want to check for when I'm getting this wood is that it is what I like to call medium density. And so what I mean by that is that when I get this cut and set up to make the spindle and the hearth out of it, I want to be able to find wood that when I press my thumbnail into it, my thumbnail leaves an indentation. If your thumb goes completely through the wood, then it's more like pulpwood and it's going to be way too soft. And if you can't make a dent at all, it's hardwood and it's going to be extremely difficult for a beginner. So not to say you can't do it with both, but you can do it. It's going to be hard for those of us that are beginners. Some good choices of wood, if you know how to identify wood, is cottonwood, basswood, cedar. Those wood types will work pretty well for making a bow drill set. So what I found here is actually some poplar. I'm going to go ahead and use it just because it's got the density that I want. I'm going to make this into the hearth. This is the hearth. This is what's going to be on the bottom. This piece, you know, about 12 inches long, makes it easy. You'll see what I mean when I get set up on this thing. And I'll probably actually do the make the coal and probably video 3, I'm guessing. But basically, what you want is something you can step up on and hold steady on the ground. So I like to make them, you know, 12 inches long, 14, somewhere along those lines. Now I'm gonna make the spindle. I'm gonna make it out of the same material. Usually, what I like to do on this is I like to call it the Aloha length. So Aloha, I'm going to make the spindle itself somewhere around that length. There you go. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and show you how to make the spindle. I'm going to tell you how to do this, and then I'm going to do it and show you the finished product. But basically, what I'm going to do is scrape off all the bark, excuse me, and then I'm going to have one end that's somewhat pointed and another end that's, for the most part, rounded. So I'll get that done, and then I'll show you the finished product. So there you go, that's the spindle. Bring this real close to the camera. So I've got one end that's rather pointed and another end that's for the most part rounded, and we'll put this together shortly. So this is what we have thus far. We have the hearth, which is going to be the piece on the ground. We have the spindle, that's going to be the piece on top of that. Now I need to find a handhold. The handhold I'm going to find is going to be of hard density. I talked about medium density for these two pieces. I can stick my thumbnail in these and leave an indentation, but the handhold needs to be as hard as possible. That can be a rock even. I've seen some of these survival suppliers have made knives with a handhold in the handle of their knife. That's, I don't know, that's probably a gimmick, but hey, works. You've got it with you all the time. You can use a rock. Sometimes I've used sandstone because I can use sandstone to work on this apparatus too. So that's what I'm gonna go find now, is a piece of hardwood. So I found a old cedar log that somebody had utilized to cut some firewood up. And I've never used a handhold that made out of cedar, so what the heck, I'm gonna do it on this, just see what happens. It'll be a learning experience for the both of us. So what we're gonna make now is the bow, and what I've already done is cut off a length. And this one, the bow for a beginner, needs to be somewhere around from your armpit down to your middle of your hand, somewhere thereabouts. I think it's a little bit longer, but I'm gonna do my best to make it work. What I like to use and what I've got here is beech, simply because beech trees have so many branches on them, and cutting one off, if you cut it off properly, which means you cut it right next to, this is not a beech here, but if you cut it right next to the tree in the collar, then it'll grow back appropriately so that the tree stays healthy. But I've cut this branch off, and I'm gonna make a bow out of it and see what we can do with it. So what you want is something that has some natural curve to it, because I'm gonna run a string from here to here, and that's gonna be my bow. So for video one, what I wanna show is how to get all the pieces together, and that's what we've got. We got the actual bow, we have the spindle, we have the handhold, and we have the hearth. And what we're gonna do in video two is show you some of the finer points on the notches and cuts and everything you do, and how to put the string on and stuff of that nature, some of the fine points. And we're going to also show you how to put it all together. And then on video three, what I intend on doing is doing my best to make a coal and a fire with this. So that's what we have for the pieces and parts, and we'll see you on or off the trail.